Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Napolitano. Today I'm going to show you how to make a flower button in Tinkercad. So this is a lesson, so we're going to start by going to Learn. Once we're here, we're going to go to Lessons. We'll go to See All Lessons. And then we'll scroll down until we find the flower button. So I think this is a really great lesson because it teaches a couple of basic but very important skills for 3D print design. So as you can see, this is sort of in progress, so I'm going to click Resume. You will just click Start Project if you haven't done this one yet. So just so you know, some of the skills that we'll learn in this lesson are creating holes, copy and pasting, as well as using the snap grid. Alright, so here we go. Flower button. In this lesson, you will learn to create a flower-shaped button. Let's get started. So now I'm going to read the instructions and follow them step by step. So, instructions. Drag a cylinder shape to the work plane. Alright. Next, scale it to a height of 2 millimeters and a diameter of 6 millimeters. So I can change the diameter of an object by, if I click on these handles, as you can see there's a measurement that shows up on either side. So I need to change these two to 6 in order to get the proper diameter. If I just change one, it gets really flat like this. That's not what we want. So I have to change this side 2 to 6. Okay, so it's really small. And then it wants me to scale it to a height of 2 millimeters. So I'm going to get rid of that. To scale it to the proper height, I'm going to click this handle at the top and I'll drag it down until that says 2 on the side. I could also just type in 2, but I decided to drag it. So now it wants me to move it to the area outlined in orange. So I'm going to take it and move it right there. Alright. Next. Now it asks me to copy and paste the cylinder and place it in the area outlined in orange. So I have two options if I want to copy and paste something. I first have to click the object I want to copy to select it, and I can either click Copy or Duplicate. If I click Duplicate, it looks like nothing happened, but if I click on the object, there's another one there. I could also, I'll just delete that, I could also click it and click Copy and then hit Paste. And there it is as well. Okay, so there's the cylinder. I'm going to put it in the area outlined in orange. Next. So it says, repeat this process again to make the shape look like a flower. And you can see that on the work plane, they've put all of the shapes that I need to fill. So if I go back to the directions, copy and paste another cylinder. Oh, I'm not up to that yet. Okay. So repeat this process again to make the shape look like a flower. So I'll click, I'm going to copy, paste, okay, do it again, copy, paste, copy, paste, and copy, paste. Okay, I messed that one up a little bit, so I'm just going to move it over. Now, I just want to point out that if I scroll in, you can kind of see that I didn't put my shapes exactly where they're supposed to be. You can sort of see these areas outlined in orange, whereas the shape is over here. Same thing over here. So what I'm going to do is change the snap grid down here at the bottom to a smaller number. So right now the snap grid is set at 1 millimeter, which means that the shapes are moving 1 millimeter at a time. On the work plane, each of these tiny squares down here is 1 millimeter. And each of the larger squares, so this whole square here, that's an inch. So if I make it a smaller number, if I change it to 0.25 millimeters, that means it's only moving at 0.25 millimeters instead of 1 millimeter at a time. So if I click on this one, I can make it more exact. It moves much slower, and I can even use my arrow keys to put it exactly where I need it. This one looks a little out of place, so I'm going to click on it, move it over. Now it's matched up with the orange line. And the rest seem good. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back out. And it also wants me to copy and paste another cylinder and move it to the outlined area in orange. I did that, okay. So now it wants me to drag a cylinder onto the work plane and make it a hole. So it gave me a new hint. So I'm going to take a cylinder, drag it onto the work plane, put it where it's supposed to be. And then to make it a hole, I have to select the object, which it is selected, as you can see from the blue outline as well as from the white handles that have shown up. But to make it a hole, I'm going to go to this. This is actually called the dialog box. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to select hole. So now it's a hole. Alright, so if I click on next, scale it to a diameter of 2 millimeters, move it to the marked spot. So I'm going to select the cylinder to change the diameter. I'm going to click on the handle, and then I'm going to change the diameter by changing the numbers on the side. So it wants 2. Whoa. Do that again. 2. Alright, there we go. So now it wants me to move it to the marked spot. So they put it right there in the middle of the flower. Okay, that looks pretty good if we look at it from all sides. Okay, next, copy and paste the hole and move it to the area outlined in orange. So I'm going to select the cylinder I just did. Copy, paste. There's another one. Okay. It's looking pretty good, but if I go underneath, I'm not totally sure the holes are poking through the bottom, so I'm just going to lower them a little bit. So to lower an object, this triangle, this black triangle that shows up at the top of a selected object, if you click and drag it, that will lower it or raise it, but I want to lower it. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And there it is. So as you can see, the holes are poking through the flower button, which means it's actually a button. Okay, so next. So the instructions say you're almost there. Select all the shapes and group them into a single object. So to select all the shapes, I'm going to click outside of the object and then drag my mouse around it. Now the whole thing is selected. And then I'm going to click this button up here, which is the group button. That makes it a single object. All right, and there is my flower button. So let me go next. Congratulations, I did it. All right, so I'm actually going to change the color. I like the pink one. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.